This SoonerScoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. From the big plays to life's everyday moments, see it all in sharp focus with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIK.
Hello and welcome back. Edward Osovich, George Stoy here from the SoonerScoop.com studios. A Thursday, December 11, and one day closer to Oklahoma, Alabama, coming up on Friday, December 19th. Talked to a bunch of players on Wednesday night. I forgot what day it was for a second. That happens a lot here. It was a busy day in the college football world yesterday with the news out of A2. That was the most surprising thing out of Michigan yesterday, is that they call Ann Arbor A2. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the most surprising, but
what else happened?
Certainly, I am glad we are not covering Michigan today.
God.
My gosh, what a disaster there, and also just a kind of a sad situation in a lot of ways. But very curious to see what direction the Wolverines go in. But busy day yesterday. It was good to catch up with quite a few players.
Sure.
Tate Sandell, Peyton Bowen, Kobie McKinzie, Grayson Halton, Jared Kanek, Eli Bowen. Who else am I forgetting anyone?
Tate Sandell?
I said Tate Sandell. But anyways, it was good to catch up with those guys. It was the first time that we've gotten to talk to players in a while.
Yeah.
So good to hear from them. And it also is like, okay, the game's getting closer.
This is a William and Lauren practice report, as per usual. Here catching you up on everything from Norman. Certainly, we want to talk about our good friends over at William and Lauren, and we shall. As the official custom clothier of OU football, William and Lauren outfits your favorite OU players in custom suits that boost their confidence off the field to match their confidence on the field. Their perfectly tailored clothing ensures every suitor stands out in comfort and style at prices that make luxury accessible. You can visit William and Lauren in Oklahoma City, or you can do so in Tulsa in the new brick and mortar. I guess it's not so new anymore. Or online at williamandlauren.com. That is williamandlauren.com. Dress like a champion and make your style as legendary as OU football. We got to get the sports code. We have a couple sports codes that we need to go order from our good friends over at William and Lauren. Try to do that possibly before Oklahoma, if they were to win next Friday. Get out to Los Angeles for the Rose Bowl. Obviously, Indiana waiting
or
the
wear it
winner.
to a Christmas party or something.
Wear it to a Christmas party. That's right. That's all you can think about is Christmas. And I'm thinking about the playoffs, so you can see where our two loyalties lie. It is kind of weird though, because you are going into this week where it's a little bit of a bye week, right? And obviously last week was a little bit of a bye week as well.
Yeah, it's honestly really weird because it's like the last 2 weeks there's not been a whole lot going on.
Sure.
We've just been kind of watching to see what would happen, see where Oklahoma would end up in the playoff. And now that they know, I think it's starting to get a little bit more real. I think we said on an earlier show this week that it feels like it's taking forever. It still feels that way. I feel like we're going to feel that until next week when things get going. But I think it's been good for the team though. You know, talking to the guys last night, sounds like they haven't practiced a whole lot. I think that they've had some time off. I think that's been really good for some of the injury stuff, which we'll get into that when it gets closer. You know, I just don't think we're going to know on guys like R. Mason Thomas or Jake Michaela until early next week to see what they're doing in practice. But I do think that it was some good time off, and now it feels like they're very focused on Alabama, obviously.
Would it be fair, and we'll try to pick at you here on a little injury front, would it be fair to say that nobody's had much of a setback, though?
Correct.
It's still in line to give them the opportunity to play.
Yeah, no, it sounds like both R. Mason Thomas and Jake Michaela are, working towards, or at least planning on playing.
Sure.
I don't know if that ends up happening. I don't think either one has participated in practice in terms of, team participation or anything like that, but are they out there trying to get back on the field? Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that the goal for both of them is to try and play. We just got to see,
Sure.
if one of them goes out there and just doesn't feel right next week, or, Michaela is feeling a little bit fatigued because of the infection and all of that, which is a very serious thing. Like, they're not going to push that. But, Thomas, same thing. It's like if he goes out there and he doesn't feel like he can be himself, then maybe he won't play. But I think right now it's safe to say they're both obviously very much trying to play in the game.
It would certainly seem like if you could just get 15 snaps from our Mason Thomas.
I'd take 5 to 10.
Yeah, sure.
If it's third and long situations and you say you're only going to play on, third and 8+ in the game.
Go get after the quarterback,
I'm all for that. And maybe that is the situation. I certainly don't think it's going to be a thing where he's out there like he was earlier this year where he was playing damn near, I think, like 75% of the snaps on defense. I don't think that's going to happen. Could he come out and play 10 to 15 snaps? I don't know. I think that might be part of the plan.
Okay, so we want to kind of lay this out too, and we'll get to the player stuff here in a second. But just in terms of the game is on Friday next week. So we'll talk to players again. We're expected to talk to players on Sunday. Everything's going to be accelerated or ramped up just one day ahead. Brent Venables, Ben Arbuckle, their usual press conferences during the week will take place on Monday this week, going into next week. And then obviously the game with a somewhat of a short week going on Friday. Wednesday night was the first time that we had talked to a number of the Oklahoma players since the selection into the college football playoff on Sunday. And here is a number of them talking about a rematch with Alabama.
I mean, we was kind of like, we wanted to play a different person, to be honest. And but, I mean, we don't look at them like any other opponent. We just got to work immediately and game prepped right there on the spot.
It meant a lot. Family, having the guys there, having the guys that's been here for 4 years, hugging on them. And, just celebrating this, enjoying the moment. It's a lot of hard work, and I just feel like that was a great moment to have.
Yeah, everybody's very excited. Obviously taking care of us a little bit. So when we're out here, we're flying around, make sure we're getting our bodies right and everything. But it just feels good to be practicing out here in December, getting ready for a home playoff game. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, I was shook, to say the least. I was arguing with all the teammates saying, they don't really want to see a rematch. They want it to be a playoff atmosphere. So, not to say that it won't be, but they kind of want to get people out of their chairs. But in their minds, they might think the same way. A lot of people felt as if we didn't necessarily beat Alabama, so they kind of wanted to see what they do in the game against us again. So, everybody out there came out. We embraced it, and we look forward to it.
It's football, man. You come out ready to play. All odds will be against you. You come out ready to play, but they'll always hate. I feel like whoever's going to come ready to play, is going to take the W.
For me personally, and I know for the rest of the defense, we didn't have a great defensive game overall. Like we caused turnovers that saved us, but we didn't have a highly detailed and executed game from the defensive side. So I feel like we're focusing on fixing those mistakes and just having a better game overall.
They're a good team. Like they gonna play hard. I mean, it's the playoffs. If you don't, then I don't know what you're doing. But they're gonna play their best ball.
I know you guys like the road dog mentality. But
yeah.
What's it going to be like playing at home for this game?
I mean, the environment's going to be insane. I'm already knowing the fans are going to show out with so much energy and passion, and I just can't wait for it.
Kind of a growing theme over the course of Wednesday night with a lot of the players, the excitement coming in or going into the playoff game on Friday. On, what was that, Tuesday, we did get all SEC teams, and certainly 10 Oklahomans or Oklahoma Sooners selected for the first, second, third team. We went over those in the practice report.
Do you want some breaking news on that?
Ari Wasserman? Yeah. Do you have any?
So there's some all SEC news to share.
Yeah.
Freshman team.
Okay.
Cortland Guillory and Torrey Blaylock.
Ooh,
No
okay.
Michael Fasusi.
No Michael Fasusi, but Torrey Blaylock, huh?
Yeah, Torrey Blaylock made the all SEC freshman team.
Pretty
so
cool.
Congrats
They
to
would.
both those guys.
Congratulations
I don't
to both
know.
of those guys.
I'll have to look and see who got chosen over Fasusi because that makes no sense.
Sure.
But obviously, congrats to Guillory and Blaylock. Both have been obviously huge parts of what Oklahoma's done this year.
This is on the heels of Monday and the on-3 All-American freshman team with Cortland Guillory and Michael Fasusi. Cortland Guillory, really excited for everybody to read your story on Cortland Guillory, the feature that you talked with his mom. I love her. And it's awesome. It's just going to be one of those stories that I think that people will really, really enjoy.
Yeah, he was raised by herself for his first 7 years of his life. They have a very tight bond, and let's just say she's instilled a lot of confidence in him. So,
we've talked about how confident he is, and there's reason to be. Yeah. Obviously, with his freshman All-American nominations or selections. So good for them.
Yep.
There were first, second, third team. Obviously, the first team guys are Mason Thomas, Tate Sandell, Grayson Miller. The host of guys on the second team, Eli Bowen, Jaron Kanik on the third team. We talked to a number of those guys, as you saw in the video there, and you saw it on kind of both sides of it because you also talked to Kobie McKinzie and Grayson Halton, guys that weren't selected.
Yeah, I think that as good as it was, and we talked about it, they had 10 guys, second most in the conference of any team. I think there was also, I don't know about sour grapes, but certainly somebody like Grayson Halton, I think probably felt like he was snubbed. I think Kobie McKinzie thought that somebody like a Kip Lewis was snubbed. He talked about kind of how they think they're one of the best linebacking groups in the country, and none of their guys got selected to first team, second team, or third team. So I think that certainly was a sentiment. And then at the same time, I think the guys that were honored were very appreciative of it. Super cool to hear from Peyton and Eli talking about how both those guys were honored. And I think even Eli said something like, I wish I was higher, but also like,
wish I would have played more at the beginning of the season.
Right. So it was cool to hear from those guys, and also some of them, stand up for some of the guys that maybe got left off.
Here is a little bit from both sides of the track, guys that were on the All-SEC team and guys that were certainly happy for their teammates, but maybe wish they were selected as well.
It's great. This is the fruits of our labor, and it's not just a me thing, it's a we thing. And this is something that our unit, we have worked tremendously hard on, and to see it come to fruition, it's great.
What would it mean to you if you won the Lou Groza?
That'd be great, but it's not in my hands. It's not what I set to win this season. It's just to win games, make kicks, and that's just a byproduct of our work. And if that happens, that's great.
This year more than any year, and so, just to be able to be recognized just means a lot. And I give credit to my coaches, my family, my teammates. All in all, I can't do what I do without the front seven, and then the back end just helping me out.
How special is it that your brother is also on there?
Nah, it's really cool that both of us got what's it called? Not nominated, but got that accolade.
Third team All-SEC, is that kind of a cool thing for you, first year playing tight end, to get an honor like that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and obviously very cool for all those other guys that were honored as well. It's cool, but we're focused on moving forward and taking care of the rest of the season.
It is what it is. Obviously, it's definitely frustrating, but it is what it is. People have their opinions. They're like toilets, PG version, but it is what it is. Kind of got to live with it, and you got to have belief in yourself and know what this group is about. On our bye week, a lot of us guys went around and we just watched football kind of in person, and we saw what people might consider might be the best linebacker group. I'm not going to say who, but it just wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't comparable to us in comparison to what you get. Yeah, I don't care, honestly.
See the All-SEC list?
All-SEC?
Have any thoughts?
I wasn't on there, right? It's all good. Got to get better, man. I've been doubted my whole life, so just got to overcome adversity. That's what it is.
Peyton, is there anybody, when you mentioned second most SEC, but anybody you really felt like deserved some recognition that didn't get it?
Sure, I can name a list of guys, but like Owen, Kip, G-Baby, like dudes like that. RJ, huh?
I think maybe David Stone had some.
Yeah, even Stone, he was mid-season, but things happen. I was mid-season freshman All-American. I didn't get it. I got hurt. Hey, let's how you gonna respond? That's what Justin Broyles always say. So it is what it is.
Tate Sandell, the Lou Groza, will be announced on Friday night as part of ESPN's awards show. I believe it's out of Orlando. I need to check on that. I'm pretty
if
sure
he doesn't win, I think it's rigged.
The resume is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think the Tokyo Toe hasn't missed a kick all season. Certainly hasn't been of consequence like some of the kicks that Tate Sandell has made. I will also say, Kobie McKinzie, he said that he went and saw a game over the weekend. He told us on Monday on the radio that he went down to the Big 12 game. So do with that what you will. I think he's talking about the Texas Tech linebacking core. Anywho, it will be somewhat of a long wait going into Friday. I know that when we talk to some of the players on Sunday, we can start getting more into the Alabama game. But there is a uniqueness that comes with something of a rematch.
Yeah, certainly. And I think that, we talked a lot about it with Brent Venables and kind of how he breaks it down. But
you wrote the article about Brent Venables going against
really
teams
good.
Again and 4-0 going into his fifth game.
I think it's interesting talking to the players last night. They don't see it as much as a rematch, and they talk about it like, hey, we need to play better in this area and do that. But to them, it's just who's the next opponent? It doesn't matter that you already faced them, or if it would have been a Notre Dame or Miami. I'm sure, I think it was Peyton that said that they wish they maybe would have faced someone different just to mix it up. But at the same time, I don't think they're approaching this as, well, we already beat Alabama, so we kind of know what's coming. I think that they know that they have a lot to prepare for and that they're going to have to execute at a high level.
And as you'll hear from Kobie here, just talking about, there was a lot of buzz. Both of these teams from both Norman and Tuscaloosa are two teams that have been talked about a lot from a national perspective, whether or not they should have been even selected to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, and I think that there's also just a lot of discussion about that first game that they played that maybe Oklahoma didn't deserve to win. They were outgained. Everybody says that, you look at the box score, there's no way, you should have won. So I feel like Oklahoma comes into this feeling like we have something to prove. We can play actually better than what we did when we beat Alabama. So I think that there's some of that. I think Alabama's probably looking for some revenge. There's the video recirculating of some of the OU players maybe hanging out a little bit too long at the Alabama logo.
Oh, that's so ridiculous to me.
But you know what I mean? Like there's going to be some of that where Alabama feels like they have something to prove of just being in the playoff and being Alabama. And I think there's something from Oklahoma's side that says, hey, nobody thinks we can do this. We're going to show you that we can do it, and we're going to do it a second time, this season.
And third time in the last 13 months, going back into 2024 when they upset Alabama the last time the Tide were in Norman. Here's a little bit more from the players on Wednesday night.
Sure, to some extent, but like I said, everybody has an opinion. We really don't care. We know what went down in that game, and for the fact of the matter, we didn't have to make it close either. We did a lot of things in that game that neutralized us. Like, for example, me not picking up the fumble. But luckily enough, we got a pick six the next play. But there was a lot of things in that game that we didn't have to make close, and we could have got off the field in certain situations. But like I said, everybody has opinions.
It does feel a little bit weird. I would say that, like, having this much time to yourself is kind of weird. But I mean, even next week's gonna be weird with finals and having to lock in for some of those tests and stuff. But I mean, it's an honor, it's a pleasure. So I mean, I'm not gonna take it for granted.
Yeah, it's huge. It's kind of like that bye week right out of Tennessee. Couldn't come at a better time, and just for me and my body. But everybody's going to use this bye week. They've had guys banged up. We've had guys banged up. So it's definitely important to get it, but you can't use it in your mindset as an off week.
Do you take that into account, though? I mean, knowing that they're going to be as healthy as they
are. Yeah, you have to. And they're going to come with a fire lit on them for sure. They just played in the SEC championship game and didn't really play their best, some might say. So they're definitely going to come with their fire lit.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I know we got a lot of guys that's coming back. A lot of guys that's getting on the field, so that's a good thing.
I know they're all NFL level talent receivers, so it's a great opportunity for all the DBs in general just to play good against them and have good film against them because we know how talented they are.
No pressure. I feel like as long as we come to practice ready to work, the pressure should be out the door. Just come ready to play. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, I can. This is probably gonna be chippy. Yeah. Probably it will be. Because there's a lot on the line. It's when to go home, and I look forward to it. I love it. It's kind of dog eat dog mentality, and you got to have it. And those guys are coming ready to play. I know that.
George, I want to talk a little bit more about Tate Sandell. It was kind of one of the first times that I had talked to him. I think I'd been in other scrums before. Really enjoyed it. First, let us tell you about our good friends over at Lucy. 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. Lucy Breakers, the nicotine pouches with an extra surprise, each pouch holding a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. What you're going to want to do, you set yourself up with a subscription today by going to lucy.co/SooterScoop, lucy.co/SooterScoop. Have it delivered straight to your door. We do that here at the SooterScoop.com offices, whether it be the mint, the mango, berry citrus, apple cider, apple ice, wintergreen, espresso. Then you can choose out your strengths. Do you want to go 4 milligram, 8 milligram, 12 milligram? And when do you throw it in? Any time of the day. When I wake up, I go straight into the radio station and throw in some Lucy. All you got to do is go to lucy.co/SooterScoop and use the promo code SooterScoop to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Thank you to our good friends over at Lucy. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Tate Sandell because I think that everybody knows it. I'm sure if you're an Oklahoma fan, like they would not be in the spot that they're in going into a college football playoff without what he's been able to do. But it is kind of remarkable. I mean, we're talking about one of the best seasons in Oklahoma history.
Yeah, 23 in a row, 23 of 24 on the season, 7 of 7 from 50 plus. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And you think about those road wins at Knoxville and in Tuscaloosa. He had the 3 50-yarders against Tennessee. He had another 50-yarder against Alabama. Just clutch. I mean, super clutch. And I think he's kind of endeared himself to his teammates. You'll hear Kobie McKinzie in the clip kind of talk about him. But, that's very rare with a kicker, I think.
Sure.
Like, you don't typically see that. And then you listen to him, you can understand why. I mean, obviously the players love him because he's helping them win football games, but I think as a person, as a teammate, you can understand why guys like this guy. He's very relatable, and he's not like we always say like, oh, kickers are kind of weird or whatever. Tate Sandell doesn't strike me as that as much. Like, he's just very confident in himself, and he's very focused. Like, we asked him yesterday about all the accolades, because he's getting more accolades than anybody on the team right now. I mean, he's up for, essentially the Heisman of kicking, which is a huge deal. And he's like, man, I just want to go kick in the college football playoff. That's what I dreamed of doing. And now I'm here to get to do it. Like, I came here to win football games, not to win the Lou Groza. And it's like, man, what an awesome perspective, from a kid and somebody as a kicker that I'm sure has thought a lot about winning the Lou Groza. That's probably crossed his mind. But to be so team focused, I think is pretty cool.
He would become the first Oklahoma Sooner to ever win the Lou Groza Award. Here he is talking about Grayson Miller at the front, I guess co-teammate in terms of the first team All-SEC, as well as a little bit more about him, his kicking, and Kobie McKinzie certainly got made an impression on by Tate Sandell early in the process.
Taking to that Grayson got first team, kind of the specialist on the kicking unit.
I mean, Grayson deserves everything he's gotten, and everybody say, oh, it's just such a surprise. It's a surprise to everybody but us. This is something that, I've seen it. Like, I've seen it every day in, day out, and this is not a surprise to me. He works his tail off. I mean, it's what, me in 8th grade dreamed of in high school. This is all the things you think about when you're laying in bed. Like, this is really happening. This is something that we worked for, and, it's just a blessing. It's just one of those things where it's, I've done my best to put myself in a position that God's put me in and, make the most of my opportunity. And I know all the guys here feel the same way, and, they're trying to do the same thing. And it's the body of work that we've produced. It's been special.
I knew it. If you would have asked me when that dude first got here if he was a kicker, I would have told you no. I mean, the dude walked in with his gold chain out and nothing really fazed him, and he just wanted to keep kicking the ball. So when you got a guy like that who has swagger at the kicker position, man, you know how confident he is in himself, and you don't really see that ever, honestly. I don't think I've ever seen a kicker act that way. So when I saw him act that way, I knew he was gonna be a special guy.
One of those guys. What goes through your head before you get into a big kick, like a 50-plus yarder?
I say what I normally say, about my grandpa and my granddaddy, and I just relish in the moment. This is where I'm supposed to be. He put me in this position for a reason, and I'm going to make the most of my opportunity.
I know you've talked about it a little bit, but is it a lot like golf, just in terms of going through the swing thought or process?
Yeah, I mean, just, my swing is my swing. I'm not going to try to be somebody I'm not, swing like I'm not. I'm not going to swing out of my shoes. I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to make the kick as possible. And if it goes in, great. If it's not, then, it is what it is.
Sure.
One hell of a season.
Yeah, I was going to say, he mentioned his grandpa there briefly when I wrote the story. If you should go check it out. He's very close with his grandparents, so I think that they have very much encouraged him and helped him, influenced him get to this point in his career. So he has very close relationship with them.
I want people to go read the story, but it was Grandma that put up the lights in
Grandma bought him
the backyard,
floodlights. He used to sneak into his high school football stadium at midnight to kick, and his grandma found out and bought him camping floodlights so that he could see the ball when he was kicking.
Something tells me he also uses those out camping as well.
Yes, yeah. He's a big I don't know. I think he hunts, but I know he's an outdoorsy guy for sure.
For sure. Certainly, you would have a lot of confidence if you run him out there having to kick a game winner or any type of kick of importance moving forward. He's also been really good on kickoff as well.
Yep.
A lot of touchbacks. I don't have the number in front of me, but going back to Sunday, it was kind of the culmination of a long track record with somebody like a Kobie McKinzie. You asked him about this closeness of this team. I know it's something that we've talked about, throughout the entirety of this season.
Yeah, and I think that kind of, it kind of came together throughout the season, but I think really over this last month, with the ways that they were able to win and, going through Red November and kind of backs against the wall, I think that they built a really close bond in that locker room, and that's why they've had so much success on the field. And, ultimately, how much does that help you win a football game in the playoff against a team like Alabama? I don't know. I think it's important, though. The culture inside the locker room seems to be really good right now, and I think that they feel like they have something to prove, and they're confident they can do it because of what happened there in the month of November.
Not to mention, and you'll hear the guys talking about this, both Kobie McKinzie and Peyton Bowen, just in terms of the preparedness. You wrote about this on Wednesday night. They went through the gauntlet of the SEC, and I think everybody knows what the schedule was at the beginning of the season, what it turned out to be, and the way that they have basically had to play something of in a playoff over this last month of November.
Yeah, really. I mean, they've had to win every single game, right, to win out. And I think when they went on the road and they beat Tennessee, that was kind of the starting point of, oh, we can do this thing. Sure. And it just kind of snowballed into what is now a team that's playing in the college football playoff. But certainly I think that they feel like when they get in tight situations, they get in close games, an ugly, muck it up football game, they feel good about it. Like, they feel like they can go win those games. They feel confident in what they're doing. And I think it's a testament to obviously Brent Venables and the coaching staff and getting those guys to buy into what they're preaching, but also the players and their belief. And again, I think that if they play in some of these tight games in the college football playoff, which I would assume every game is going to be pretty close because they're not playing Tulane or James Madison, I feel good about this Oklahoma team being in those situations because that's all they've done for the last month.
Thus, you find the catchphrase, the grimy catchphrase that Brent Venables has used, the hard-to-kill moniker that has kind of become a staple with Team 131. Here is Kobie McKinzie as well as a little bit more from Peyton Bowen.
Do you feel like this is the closest team you've been on since getting to Norman?
Yeah, probably my whole life. You just don't really see it. Guys that genuinely care about each other, and it's crazy to think that we were only together for a year. But I think it's from the top down of guys just that belief and true character of loving one another. When the younger guys see the older guys do that's when the program is being built. And not to say that it wasn't there when we got here, but I would say that it wasn't as a whole, on both sides of the ball per se, or even just in every single room. A lot of people felt like the person next to them were trying to take food off their plate or something like that. But, this is definitely the closest team that I've been a part of.
It's everything, like just not giving up on this program, on these guys, on these coaches, and just like seeing it all the way through, like the light at the end of the tunnel for real. And I mean, it's not over yet. We still got a lot of ball left, and let's go make a run.
I think that's why they made our back half schedule the way it was. You're in a big game every week, and so you wouldn't want it any other way. It prepared you, like you said, for the run that you're going to go on. You're going to face those teams that, in the back half of our season, were playoff teams until we played them. So it definitely prepares you for the stretch that you need to go on and are going to go on.
Almost got blinded by the bald head. I mean, lights in the background.
That was pretty good. It feels like Kobie McKinzie's due for a big moment. Not that he hasn't. Yeah. He's played obviously very well this year. If he chooses to go to the NFL, I think he'll get drafted. But it feels like he's due like just a big moment, and
he's been quite self-deprecating about the missed fumble, and obviously you can talk about it a little bit easier when one play later Eli Bowen's running 87 the other way.
It just feels like so many guys have had their moment this year, whether it's an Owen Heineke, Kip Lewis
had that moment in Tuscaloosa,
Peyton Bowen, Eli Bowen, Robert Spears Jennings, but what Kobie has meant to the program, kind of been one of those guys that's just been a stabilizer these last 4 years. It would be pretty cool to see him come up with a big play. I mean, he's a guy that I enjoy speaking to, and he's been awesome with the media. So
it's kind of crazy, and this was brought to my attention yesterday. I think Tyler McComas tweeted it out. 4 of the last 5 times Oklahoma's played Alabama, defensive touchdown.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All of those. Eric Bassey in 2002, Geno Grissom with the fumble
Eric
return
Stryker.
in the Sugar Bowl in 2013, and then obviously the last 2 years with Kip Lewis in 24 and then Eli Bowen in 25.
Maybe Kobie McKinzie.
Maybe it'll be Kobie
That'd be pretty
McKenzie's
awesome.
time come Friday night. All right, as we said, Sunday afternoon, we're expected to talk to a couple more of the players. I think at that point, we'll get John Mateer over Sunday or Monday.
Yep.
We're supposed to talk to him twice here. I think that's a college football playoff mandate. Would that be the right way to say it? And then Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle coming up on Monday. We'll have it all here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. For George Stoya, I'm Eddie Radosevich. We'll talk to you next time.